Hey guys, welcome back to the SAGA channel. We just reached 25,000 followers to our Instagram account, and although that's not a huge amount, figured that was maybe a pretty good opportunity to discuss how we can create extra followers on our Scuba Instagram accounts. So broke this down into 5 tips. Some of them practical, some of them a little bit more philosophical. Let me know what you guys think. It's always good to let us know if you like this type of content by liking the video, maybe leaving a comment. And obviously, if you want to see more, you can always subscribe. So let's get into it. So tip number 1. And I think this is rather basic, but guys, you gotta separate your personal account from your scuba diver account, right? If I'm following an account because I'm interested in scuba diving, I don't really care what type of pasta you had for dinner, you know? So I think that's very, very important. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to focus on what your audience wants, and chances are, if you wanna get more followers, it's not gonna be because of you personally, right? It's gonna be because of your scuba diving escapades, let's say. And yeah, you can, that's probably also a good opportunity to just create a business account. That way you can also really see when your audience is online, which posts they are interacting with the most. And that really just allows you to cater to them, right? I would even say that on the SAGA account, for instance, if we have a look, there's some posts that, they're all scuba diving posts, because the Dive SAGA profile is obviously a scuba diving profile. But even there, I'll post a picture of this turtle, which I think is a really, I really like this picture. I was very proud when I took it. I was like, oh man, people are going to go crazy. And all in all, it's not bad, but it's not a super high performing picture for this account particularly. And if we look at this account of, which is a selfie in a full face mask, for some reason, that gets about 4 times more likes. So I don't know why that is. I think people just, my specific audience likes gear, I'm guessing, and they don't like wildlife. Anytime there's like a marine life picture, like this jellyfish over here, 300 likes, like that's well below average. So it's not so much about what I want to post, right? It's more about what the audience wants to see. Tip number 2, guys. Tip number 2 would be to highly stylize your profile. Pick a look and go for it, right? So again, if we kind of look at the SAGA account, it's very blue, right? The logo is blue. The profile picture, in this case, it's part of our logo. Could be a picture, but in our case, blue and green are sort of the key colors that we're working with, and you can see that throughout every picture. Is every picture blue? Not necessarily. I mean, there's some photos that have blue in them, but are definitely color graded a little bit different. But for the most part, there's a consistent blue-green color scheme. And so every time somebody checks out your profile, it screams scuba diving. So am I saying that you need to go all blue? Of course not. Am I saying you need to go all green? Absolutely not. Maybe it's white, maybe it's black, maybe it's black and white. There's a lot of themes you could work with, and these themes can also change, right? Like there'll be periods where for 10-15 pictures I'm all into the greens or something, and then a bit later it'll be much more colorful. So that's also perhaps a bit, maybe a bit my mood at the time. But there is a type of consistency in the pictures, which is definitely something that works for me. Or it seems to work anyway in regards to our audience, as well as those highlights on the top, for instance. Make sure that that there's a consistency in how they look, that it ties in to your specific profile look, right? Tip number 3. Tip number 3 actually takes quite a bit of work, but it's to interact with your audience, guys. I mean, when I comment on a page that I like it when people reply to me. I love getting, I love getting a like or an answer. And so that's important. I mean, if people are commenting on your account, that's great. That's an awesome first step. But it is important for sure to kind of keep, to build a genuine relationship. There's like the same 10, 15 people that'll often, really engage with my account. And I try to say something back every time, right? I like their comments because that's what keeps people coming back. Same with the stories. If they interact with your stories, definitely reply, not just to your friends, but if you manage to create a bit of a follower base out there, just be nice. Tip number 4, and that I think that one is really, really, really key. It's so once you've kind of created your scuba diving account, once you've decided on the style of the feed, what you're going to do, once you've decided to really work with your audience, I think it's also time now to decide what's feed material and what's story material. What do I mean by that? If we look, I'm just going to use my own account as an example, I guess. On the feed, I use pictures that I think are of high enough quality to go on the feed. So where I think people might want to stare at them for a while, maybe analyze some detail, maybe there's really something cool going on. Whereas if we look at the stories, and I'll just look at today's stories, right? We taught an emergency first response instructor course. I would never post this on the feed. I don't think, there's like a reasonable interaction rate still with this material, but I guess it's more of a sort of a behind the scenes look. So again, I'm not saying that that's now where you should post yesterday night's spaghetti pictures, but you can probably go a little bit more behind the scenes, a little bit more candid. That's what I do, and it works. And people often kind of use it for feedback or for interaction, as well as I'll use that. Like I'm offering training, and we have the SAGA web store, so and travel. So I'll often use the stories to kind of advertise a little bit and kind of let people know what we have, because I think it's far less obnoxious to have it in your stories than to have it in the feed, because it's it is only like 24 hours, and once they've seen it, it's kind of gone. Whereas if you use the feed for that type of advertisement, I think my feed is ruined when there's too much advertisement, right? I want my feed for pretty pictures, and I'm assuming most people want the same. So definitely make a rule for yourself what's feed material and what's story material. All right, guys? So that's already 4 out of the 5 tips. The next one is very, very practical. If you're having fun so far, guys, consider giving us a like, consider subscribing to the channel, or even leaving a comment, because that way I really know if this type of content is something that works for you guys, right? Could do more. So our 5th and final tip, guys, is a very, very practical one, but I really stick to it. There are no exceptions as far as my feed goes. I always do these rectangular photos. Why rectangular? Because if you look at your feed at any given point, and you have a rectangular, in this case it's a video, really cool turtle, and then we swipe on and we have the more horizontal ones. The horizontal one really passes by quite quickly, whereas the vertical ones, because they're these are all horizontal, they're really, really short, the vertical ones take up way more screen real estate, right? So that really grabs attention. I also think with scuba diving specifically, because it's really very landscapes or depth, or the sensation of being lost in the blue. I feel like the more screen real estate you can utilize for that to convey that feeling, the better. So I think I literally 99.9% of my posts will be vertical, and I think it really works. So in order for them to display that way, you do have to, before you open the Instagram app, you have to crop them and perhaps reposition them a little bit and save them. And then when you open them in the app, you just you can obviously tap on the photo whether you want the square version or the rectangular version. And I find, you know, that when I'm looking at pictures, there's just more time to take in the information, right? Because there's just more screen real estate being occupied. All right. So guys, those are my 5 initial tips for that's what we've been doing very specifically to get the account up to 25,000. Again, it's not, I mean, obviously not a huge account, but it's something that we've been working towards. I definitely want to thank everybody who is following us. I think that's really cool. I love the interaction. I love, you know, exchanging thoughts. If you guys want to see more tips, perhaps we can make a follow-up video, then just let me know below, right? And then we can work on maybe 5 more tips or 10 more tips, who knows. So thank you guys for watching. As always, please like, subscribe if you loved it, and I'll see you next time.